I was slow on the draw there. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ring Post Radio, the only podcast that is now, we're no longer podcasting. We're now a cell phone service. That's right. Today, we're unveiling Ring Post Radio's new Ring Post cellular plan, Ring Post Cell. That's what we're doing. Scotty and I worked tirelessly on this for the past several years. We've put this together for you to have we're going to be a cell phone plan now, Scotty. Isn't that great?
I clearly missed the memo.
Do you know what I'm referencing at all?
Not even a little.
How in tune to the general podcast space are you? That's the question, I guess.
As little as humanly possible.
That's very good. Well, to save time and not explain the joke, I guess look up podcast cell phone smart list, and that'll get you there. Anyways, welcome everybody to Ring Post Radio. I'm your host Ryan 19. With me, as always, is the man, the myth, legend, Scotty Edwards. Scotty, how you doing on this fine Sunday morning?
I am feeling good. Long day yesterday.
Yeah,
but it's now Sunday. We're chilling, relaxing. I've been up for an hour and I've been up for like 2 hours now, but that's neither here nor there. Just finished Dynamite Grand Slam. I said to you I wasn't going to be able to watch Fantastica Mania. Holy shit, I almost didn't get to watch the the other show this week.
Well, that's weird because you texted me when Dynamite was happening. I thought you were watching it live.
I was originally. I watched the Hangman part, and then I had to do something, and then I literally never got back to it until yesterday, and I ran out of time yesterday, so I finished it this morning. But it's fine. Had a great time. I watched. Yeah, it was a long week. It's a long week. It's always a long week.
Sure.
Yesterday was a long day. Whether you were doing what I was doing for most of the day, or whether you were just living in this world. But hey, we're here. I'm raising the roof, talking CMLL week, and whatever else floats your boat.
Did we talk about what you did in last week's audio? Do you care about that if we say that out loud?
I don't give a shit.
Yeah, you were at a bachelor's party last night.
I was. Had a great dinner. Thank you for asking. And
dinner. Ooh.
Yeah, nice dinner.
Give me the food deets. I'm a big foodie lately.
Nice ribeye. It was delightful. We went to this nice like Italian steakhouse type, and I think we spent our year's salary on it. But hey, anything for the bachelor. It was great. We did other stuff throughout the day too, but that was the main thing. We were there forever. And let me tell you, when I walked in the door last night, I literally went into my bed and fell asleep for an hour and a half. That was last night. I think I woke up at 10:30 last night, and that's when I started to watch AEW, and then I fell asleep again. But I got it done. Now I'm here. Now I'm here to do my show because I'm a professional bullshitter, but professional nonetheless.
That may or may not be true, but we'll find out for sure.
Also, I just remembered I have to rant again. So last week obviously was Father's Day, right?
Correct.
But also it was the day that my favorite baseball team decided to trade our best player out of nowhere. So my week has been long and emotional and devastating in so many ways. You can figure out who my favorite baseball team is if you follow baseball even remotely. So yeah, that was great. But I watched The Godfather last Friday with my dad, so that was pretty cool. I think Ryan's frozen, so I'm just gonna keep talking. But this is Ring Post Radio after all. We just kind of shoot from the hip, and Ryan's completely gone. He's now here twice. Holy shit. He's here. Oh my God. That was terrifying.
Sorry. I was hoping to do that without distracting you, but it appears.
What happened? Why are you here twice?
StreamYard said my connection was unstable, so I quickly changed my Wi-Fi network, and hopefully that's better. I don't think it is actually though. So
you're better. I could see you. Last time you froze completely, so that was not better. I was literally just rambling. This is Ring Post Radio. We shoot from the hip, but I don't know what to do. So yeah.
Hopefully that's better. I looked at the YouTube, and my video is super grainy and stuff. But
yeah, well, you were missing the upset.
What's that? Say it again.
You were missing me get emotionally devastated about my baseball team.
That's
Uh,
fine. That's fine.
but I got to watch The Godfather with my dad last Sunday, so that was pretty cool. And then I got to celebrate this week. The Sari interview came out. Lots
Yeah.
of nice words about that. And I got to watch the boss win the title on Saturday. So it's all good. It's all good. It came back around. And now I'm here.
And now you're
To
here.
talk.
Meanwhile, my
CMLL.
sister was in town last weekend, and my mother is in town this week and this weekend. So, well, that being said, this episode will probably try to be shorter, and by shorter I mean 90 minutes is what I'm shooting
Yeah, the
for.
shortest episode of all time, folks.
Yeah, so we'll find out if we even hit that. More likely, we'll hit 4
when
hours.
CMLL ends in 90 minutes, we'll just be like,
Peace out.
see you guys.
So we'll see. Let's see. I want to see your reaction. Twain Max says in the comments, happy to see Devers was shipped off to San Fran. I say that for all Yankee fans around the world. Scotty? Scotty, thoughts?
Come on, man.
I know not enough about baseball to know what that means. So I assume Devers was a person that got traded to San Francisco.
Yes.
Was that your guy?
Yes. And the worst part is they're playing them this weekend. Like we are playing the guy we traded this weekend. It's awful. Stop. Just move on. I'm not talking about this. We can talk. We're here to talk wrestling. I enjoyed wrestling this week. Let me enjoy it further.
Well, you enjoyed wrestling this week, I'm sure, because it was CMLL week. A bunch of promotions.
The best and only Lucha Libre in the world.
That is correct. I will say that this is a Lucha Libre company.
Major scale.
This is the only Lucha Libre company that does not have the stamp of approval by WWE, and it turns out
Why it's better.
It turns out that's a good thing, because a
lot of things that have the stamp of approval of WWE kind of stink this week, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, we'll talk about that, I guess. AEW, Ring of Honor, New Japan, a bunch of promotions came down upon.
New Japan is strong.
Yeah, New Japan strong, I guess.
I saw that logo on there. I was like.
I love when they just like throw in like New Japan Strong, like 7 promotions.
Rev Pro got on there because Robbie X had a match. I was like, damn, we're really just giving everyone credit.
Sure. But yeah, everyone came down to Mexico this week and had a big time week of CMLL and a bunch of their other companies that they work with. Had a really good week of wrestling, I thought. Other than that, we'll also, of course, talk about Stardom. They had a show. Stardom.
Don't say of course. Hold on. Don't say of course. We're here for 90 minutes. There is no guarantee we talk any of these other things.
Yeah, I know. You're right. We might talk AAA, and that might talk 90 minutes. I'll bring up AAA. We can knock that off the board real quick, Scotty. I watched it. I saw that. I talked about last week how I was like, I don't know if I'll watch it. Who knows? It feels somewhat important because it's the first like big show post WWE thing. Yeah. And then I saw that they uploaded only the 3 matches because that's what it was, and I was like, I can watch 3 matches, and I watched it. And it was aggressively fine, and then the main event was garbage. So that's your review of AAA. Triple Mania.
I heard someone call it a spirited 1-star main event, and I was like, that's the funniest sentence I've ever read.
That's pretty accurate. I feel like
spirited. How nice.
They're trying. You can tell everyone involved is trying hard.
I will say this. I want to applaud Vikingo. One thing I can give him is he's getting the same reactions as Atlantis Jr. in his home.
I was thinking that as well.
Poor Atlantis Jr., by the way. I think of it every time. Every time this poor guy gets booed out of the building, I'm like, man.
Yeah.
I know nepotism and all that, but like, have you seen the most of this roster? Like, really?
Did I see how many juniors are on this roster? CMLL, it's all nepotism. It's Lucha Libre, it's all nepotism at the end of the day. I mean, come on, what are we talking about?
But he's the limit.
He's the limit for people, apparently. CMLL had a big week. We're going to talk about a bunch of other things, but let's talk about CMLL week itself. Now, I don't necessarily know structure-wise. I don't necessarily feel like we should go like match by match, Scotty. So maybe it's more of like a show by show overview week thing.
So many thoughts on Los Hermanos Chavez versus the Crew.
Oh, well then great. Then we'll start off with the Tuesday show, CMLL versus AEW / Ring of Honor. What's that?
Tuesday show is the best show.
Tuesday show is the only show I haven't fully seen yet. I watched Dynamite, of course, and then I watched the Friday show. but I
Oh my
haven't seen the
god,
Tuesday
the
show yet.
Tuesday show was like a dream.
Well,
Beautiful.
if you want to know the peep behind the curtain, Scotty said, I knew that Scotty had the bachelor party. You messaged me saying,
Mm,
"Hey, can you definitely make sure to watch the Friday show? I'm scared I'm
mm,
not going to watch it." And then I texted you in response, "Did you
mm.
watch the Tuesday show?" And you said yes. And it was in that moment I said, "I will I will make sure I watch the Friday show. I'm
All
going to
right,
fully
see, this
abandon
is
squeezing in Tuesday."
we call that tag teaming.
Anyways, Tuesday show. Let's talk about it. Of course, this show was as follows: Persephone defeats Red Velvet. Los Hermanos
Persephone's
Chavez
good. I'm gonna
defeats.
have a let me have a one
Sure,
sentence statement per match.
sure.
Persephone's good. Continue.
Los Hermanos Chavez defeat Crew for the CMLL World
Okay,
Tag Team titles.
just okay. Continue.
Hologram defeats Neon.
They're really good.
Elias Jr. defeats Josh Alexander.
This was pretty good.
Los Guerreros, Gran Guerrero, Ultimo Guerrero. There's a bunch of people. Los Ultimo Guerrero, Gran Guerrero, Averno, and Euphoria defeat Hechicero, Takeshita, Fletcher, and Rocky Romero.
Greg Guerrero beat all your favorite wrestlers. Take that, buddy.
Bandito defeats Masquerade Dorada to retain the Ring of Our World title.
My men's match of the year.
Oh my God! Give me some. Okay, so give me some time. Give me some thoughts. What do you think about the show
Yeah,
overall? And of
yeah.
course, the main event.
Easy watch. It was like 2.5 hours with entrances. So like you can get through this. Boom, boom, boom. Like what was it? 7 matches? Is that what? 6 or 7?
Yes. 6 matches.
Really, really fun show. Top to bottom. AEW, Ring of Honor. AEW, Ring of Honor. Yeah. Them sharing their talent, giving us these first time matchups. Just a really, really good show. Like, on paper, you expect it to be a good show. The fact that they fit Gran Guerrero onto this show and that he got to win show of the year, as far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm.
He pinned Rocky Romero, so all is right in the world. Konosuke Takeshita in Arena Mexico. Perfect. It's just perfect, man. I'm gonna say that a few times about certain people in Arena Mexico this week, but Takeshita, like, so they were doing this thing in the entrances on this show. I don't know if they did it for all of them, but they had a camera behind the entrance thing, and Takeshita just turned around, hit a pose, and I was like, give him all the world titles, guys. Like, look at this man. He knows he's on his shit right now. There was also a point where Ultimo Guerrero looked in and was like,
raising the roof,
like,
pointing, MLW
damn right.
national title shining. I think I saw one where Hologram turned towards the camera and then he put on a fedora.
Yes. Love Hologram. By the way, if you needed a week for like Hologram to just have an absolute show out week, this was the one. You just like incredible week for him.
I mean, throw in Bandito, obviously, too.
Well, listen, Bandito, I think most have agreed is like maybe the best luchador when he's going at the top of his game. I think this was a great reminder of, oh, right, he is that good. This felt like his first like full return for me to like his highest level. As I'm and of course you want me to talk about the main event, so I'm going to talk about the main event. But if I wanted to recommend matches from this show, I would go out of my way to watch Hologram versus Neon and the last two.
Sure.
I think those were the best 3. But you know, stylistically, if you are a fan of a little bit more technical side, you'll probably enjoy Josh and Atlantis Jr. a lot too. Sure. But those were my 3 favorites. The Neon Hologram match was a lot of fun. The tag was a lot of fun, but Bandito versus Masquerade Dorada was just incredible. Crowd out of their minds. Bandito walked in. I was like, give this man a dual contract right now. I know a lot of people were talking about like dual contracts with AEW with CMLL. I was like, no. We need a dual contract for Bandito because he needs to be here. Like when he's stuck doing Ring of Honor every week, just get him on these shows.
Yes.
Oh, you need him for you need him for Collision, and you already recorded on Wednesday. Let him go to Arena Mexico on Friday. Like, please,
You need him for an 8-man tag on Collision? Great. Can we send him to Mexico for a little bit for some
so he
shows?
can just let him jump in trios matches on these shows. Like it's perfect. He should be part of L Sky team. He can be a 4th special member. But he was incredible. Dorada is incredible. I'm watching these two, right? I'm just sitting there, like matches starting, crowds going crazy. I'm like, these are the best two luchadors in the world. Sorry to the Ray Phoenix fans. Sorry to the Penta fans. Sorry to whoever the hell you want to pick from AAA. Sorry to, I guess, I don't think anyone calls Hologram the best luchador in the world, but
No, I think he's got the potential.
Sorry to
Mystico.
Well, okay, that's my top three. Mystico's there for the vibes, though. In terms of like athletically, I think it's these two and then everyone else.
Sure.
Just incredible two wrestlers. The fact that Dorada's like 25, the fact that Bandito's like 27, unbelievable. Like these two guys are just it. And you are watching them enter their, well, Bandito's in his prime, but you're watching Dorada just start to put it all together still. Like that's the beauty of what he is. Unbelievable match, just back and forth chaos. I don't know if you saw any of the spots from this match. Did you see any of them?
I don't think I did. I think
So,
they did one guy was sitting on the, if it was this match, one guy was sitting on the turnbuckle. Someone jumped up onto like their shoulders and fell down. I think Dorada did that to Bandito.
Yeah, so Dorada jumped onto Bandito's shoulders, stood there, then dropped down into a perfect super Rana. I was like, what the fuck just happened? They did a spot where like Dorada's running towards the corner of the ring. He slides out and Bandito meets him by jumping over the top rope. I was like, perfect, beautiful. You got kickouts on the big two moves of each of them, which was pretty superb. Like I said, the crowd was crazy. These two just went all out. Best Ring of Honor world title match, and who knows how long, by the way, if you want to just add a point. It was my reminder though, right? Because you and me have talked about this through the years. And I will go to my deathbed saying this. Yeah, sure, Ring of Honor Sinclair era wasn't always the best, but the best thing they did was bring Lucha to Ring of Honor. And boy, oh boy, when I'm watching it like this, I'm like, why is this not just what we do in Ring of Honor now? I know like there's a CMLL match like per week now on there. No. Your entire men's division should just be Lucha because this is great. I know Flamita's doing Dragon Gate these days. Bring back my king. Like, that's what I'm saying. You got Hologram on there. Let him go on there. Bandito versus someone from CMLL needs to be the Ring of Honor main event in Texas. Like, agreed. I don't even think it's a question. Just run Dorada back.
Agreed. I mean, we literally like questioned the idea of like, why not you just belt up Dorada here in Mexico and then go to Texas, have Bandito win it back. Why not?
They didn't do that. But listen, just run it back anyways. Like, well, the Texas crowd will eat it
now that Bandito beats Dorada, parts of me are wondering, what if Texas is Bandito versus Mystico?
Well, he beat him too.
Oh, that's a good point too.
But they did say that they want a singles match and they would do one in America. So maybe. Though I toss that on All In.
Sure. Yeah.
Let's just get spicy with it, Let All In have just this great lucha match,
It does feel like we need a lucha match at All In. Just
it's
feel like
in Texas. We gotta, or just do like a big trios. That's fine too. Get Hologram in there, get Bandito in there. But yeah, there's so many different avenues. But I love this main event. It was incredible. I watched it the night of. I watched this show the night of. The only show I clearly watched the night of because that's what I do. But I was so excited for it because this was the first card that was announced for this week forever ago. So I think my excitement for it just continued to build. Dorada is incredible. Bandito's incredible. More opportunities for Bandito. That's all I ask for. AEW should put him on every show they have. He is that number one lucha wrestler that everyone wants in America, but the thing is I also need him in CMLL because I know he used to work there, then obviously a bunch of things changed. Just felt right once he was back in Arena Mexico for all his matches. Also, shout out to my guy, the Beast Muertos. What a fucking week for that guy.
Agreed.
He wasn't on this show, but I just need to shout him out anyway.
Personally and professionally, what a week for Beast Muertos.
I don't think anyone could have had a better week.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear about that Tuesday. I obviously still want to go back and watch. Honestly, I'm probably gonna watch the full show.
It's worth it.
Because it's like, you're basically like saying, yeah, I mean, watch 4 of the 6 matches, and it's like, oh, I mean, I'll watch the other 2. Like,
The first 2 aren't short, or aren't long. I mean, so
yeah,
and the show, like I said, you could probably watch the whole show in an hour and a half.
yeah. If I just skip
With
through all the
tops.
in
Yeah,
between stuff, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I'm glad to hear that you brought up.
Don't skip the Takeshi entrance though.
I gotta watch all
You
those
just need to,
entrances
you
for the
just need to
8-man
see
tag.
Aura.
You brought up the dual contracts. That's part of the CMLL week conversation I want to have. Is this That was a conversation point that I saw pop up on social media a little bit, and you and I had a good conversation about it in Slack. That AEW lately has been setting up these dual contracts with New Japan.
Mm.
Obviously, you have Takeshita has one currently. He's had one. I don't know when they announced it. I want to say, was it after the G1 or was it after
It
Wrestle
was
Kingdom?
after Kingdom when he won the belt.
So they announced that he has a dual contract, and I guess that's when they announced it. I don't know, who knows when they fully started it, but and then Kevin Knight, obviously, when they signed Kevin Knight, they said that he has a dual contract as well. We don't know of anyone else having dual contracts, so that became a talking point surrounding these shows a little bit, and I think partly also because of the whole WWE invading Mexico, which that's a different topic point. We'll probably bring this up later in the show. But for right now, more specifically with the dual contracts, how would you feel about, how would you feel about some of these CMLL wrestlers picking up dual contracts where they're able to work in Mexico and also able to work on AEW on US television, weekly, semi-weekly basis? How do you feel about that itself? Before we pick like who we think Tony Khan would want to snipe, who do you want to like? Who would you? Do you think that would be a good idea for CMLL?
As I said to you, I'm very conflicted on the idea because I think in any scenario, it should be CMLL that has final say
Sure.
when it comes to their wrestlers, right? You don't want to sign them away. And if it comes down to like dual contract where AEW might be paying more, they will have final say, right? And that's where the problem comes up. So the best example to me is Dorada because that's what Bandito was like. Well, we need to get you more on AEW and stuff, and it's like I don't know if you know this Bandito. He's been on AEW the past few weeks, but okay. Doesn't watch the product clearly. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Kenny Omega didn't either. Probably still doesn't. That's not a shot. He said he didn't watch it. Before I get attacked. But to me, it's like you don't want Dorada missing the Friday shows. You don't want him missing the Friday shows. You don't want him missing the Tuesday shows. From there, it's like if he's missing Coalescio because of Collision, that's okay. They've been open. Like CMLL has clearly shown they're willing to have people go here, there, and everywhere, right? You see it with MLW too. They go to those shows. If CMLL has the final say and these guys aren't missing the main shows of CMLL, I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
But I don't want this to be like, I will not forget the words of what Tony Khan said with Kevin Knight. He's like, oh, if I knew he was going to become such an important part, I would have not had him go. And it's like, all right, man, it's a dual contract. And it's like, not everyone's Takeshita, right? Takeshita works pretty evenly, I'd say, for the most part. I know he's not on New Japan tours, but he's on major shows. He's in the G1 for a second straight year. So I think Takeshita is like the best example if you're talking the terms of evenness. So you want it to be closer to Takeshita, but you want CMLL to have final word. So that's kind of where I'm at because I'm okay with it as well if you're afraid that someone's going to sign with WWE. I'm not as afraid as like most people are when it comes to like the wrestlers with their fathers in this company, which is like half the main event. Like Atlantis Jr. I think Dorada, if I'm not mistaken, correct? Pantarita Del Ring, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. So like the main people that you're worried about, Soberano, they all have like connections to CMLL, so it would take a lot to get them to leave. But I understand it. Either way, I think more of just the relationship being as strong as it is, and you want to. I think the big thing for me moving forward is after this week, AEW should be lending talent to CMLL consistently. I don't think there's any need for if they want to sign Atlantis Jr. to a dual contract. I think Bandito should be allowed to sign the same.
Yeah.
Like I think that's the type of thing. And AEW can have final say on Bandito because that's their guy. But at the same time, hey, we have this Friday show open. We'd like to book him. Can we? Because you don't have him doing anything on Fridays because they don't run shows on Fridays. They can be like, yeah, sure. Like I think that's the relationship you want to see between these two. And I think that is ultimately a relationship I think we're on pace to be seeing. I think the best relationship AEW has is the one with CMLL as it is right now. You see talent consistently on their shows. And I think in return, you should start to see. I'm not saying they have to bring Ospreay, but Bandito, that just is a obvious fit. Hologram from time to time, that's cool. People love Hologram in Arena Mexico. Commander when he's back, like, yeah, that's easy. But also like Kevin Knights of the world, right? These guys that can fit into that style and learn more from that style from week to week. We've seen Will Nightingale go there a ton over the past couple of years, just to name someone else. So yeah, that's kind of how I see it. I think it's my favorite version of an AEW relationship we've seen, because obviously the New Japan one is ask a New Japan fan, not the best, but this one's like perfect. So I think dual contracts are fine, but let CML be the one that controls their guys, and let AEW be the one that controls theirs.
Yeah, it's I'm in the boat of it's tough because I do agree that like I want CMLL to have more control over these sort of things, but then I also think back and like how much control, quote unquote, of their talent does CMLL really have, right?
Right.
Look at like the whole Stephanie Vacquer situation. You can even if you can throw in there Tessa Blanchard, right, as well.
Yeah.
That's less of a thing, but you know what I'm saying. That all of a sudden they get scooped up and they are immediately gone, and you have to and that's over. Granted, these are two women examples. I don't know what it's like more of the quote unquote top of the card with the male wrestlers.
He tells me Mystico cannot just be taken tomorrow.
Yeah, that I don't know. Do they have contracts? I don't know. I know that according to Luke Cubs fan, that like they're not necessarily especially compared to American TV, not paid the same by any stretch of the imagination. So that's certainly they can get outbid by anyone. But when it comes to like these sort of dual contracts, I see it also as that defensive measure against the sort of invasion happening with WWE. Able to keep these top stars and retain that they stay in. Someone like a Dorada, right? I think Dorada is obviously the biggest example of somebody. I think Mystico is somebody that they would also do a contract with, obviously. But I think Dorada is the kind of guy where it is he is being groomed, ready to become the next face of CMLL after Mystico. If I had to give any pushback to that, Scotty, legitimately, I think there's possibility that like Dorada becomes like the next face of like Lucha Libre to an American audience. Like he has the energy that he could be like the next Rey Mysterio crossover star. And to that point, it's like, well, then do you want to keep him in CML the entire time, or do you want him to bring him to the States and all these sort of things? That's a whole nother conversation. Way too early to all these sort of things, but I think the potential is certainly there. But I see that sort of that defensive strategy because we all know that WWE is going to be watching this week and picking out people that they're going to want to take because they've taken people before with Stephanie Vacquer. It's happened before and they'll certainly do it again. So it is interesting to me about it. I do agree that I want to see how these contracts play out. With Takeshita, I feel like he's done a good job of coming over to Japan every once in a while. Cage match.
He's there every month.
Cage match. He's had 10 New Japan. He's been at 10 New Japan events, 27 AEW events. Obviously, I think 3 of the New Japan events were stateside. but nevertheless, he performed. Never open weight champion with a solid reign. Wrestled in 2 G1 climaxes. Wrestled at Wrestle Kingdom. He's wrestling the big shows like New Beginning, Osaka, Sakura Genesis, Dontaku, Dominion. Obviously, just this past week. His contract, I think, serves really well, and I think a lot of it also has to do with New Japan really excited to use him and wanting to use him. Kevin Knight, he's new. He got brought over to the Best of Super Juniors, and that's all we've done with him. I think he's done a stateside show since. I'm not sure.
I mean, again, very different wrestlers too, right?
Exactly.
Kevin Knight was barely used to begin with by New Japan. So like that's the tough comparison. I think
Mercedes Moné. Do you think Mercedes Moné had a New Japan contract, dual contract thing?
No.
She worked like all of the stateside shows for like a whole year.
Yeah, I think she was a per date wrestler. Especially, the talking point as she continues to add titles.
Yeah.
Is why did she lose the strong title? And that's more so, I think it can't. Well,
it could be like she had a contract.
I think it's a mix. I think they probably don't want to pay her anymore. And I think they have other people that they may want that belt on now too.
Yeah, which is totally fair. Totally fair.
Yeah.
To do. Or Stardom, I guess.
It's
New Japan.
That is New Japan. I mean, it literally says New Japan Strong, but I don't know who books it. I don't really care who books it.
I'm in the boat of I like this. I like the dual contracts idea as a defensive move against WWE. But
if
at
that worry kicks in, I get it. You know?
At the same time, there is this element of it's still too unknown of what these properly mean. To me, I like to think of the dual contracts as the Rocky Romero fund. Like, hey, who am I going to be shifting around? And I think the other aspect of this is that, like, you brought up, like, Bandito should get a dual contract. I like the idea of, not just taking a guy from another company, but still allowing them to work at the old place, which is what I think AEW ultimately kind of should be. But I like the idea of also giving AEW already signed talent the ability to work these other shows. Because to that extent, I like the idea of what dual contracts are. I really enjoy. If you truly see these wrestlers as independent contracted wrestlers, that they're in charge of themselves, they got to probably do their own taxes, all these sort of things, right? Yeah. That giving them the ability to work, and you can have exclusively in various regions, but giving them the ability to work in other companies, not be exclusive to promotion, but be like, oh, I'm going to work AEW in the States. I'm going to work CMLL in Mexico. I'm going to work New Japan in Japan. Giving them the ability to open that up, to me, is very interesting. And I really like that, because I think ultimately that's kind of how the industry should be run, maybe even a little looser than that, but I like those constrictions as well. I think when you think of like contract and exclusivity stuff, it's very much because of that WWE mindset of like, we're signing guys and you're staying here forever and all these sort of things. And AEW is slowly opening that door a little bit. So I do like that in theory, but it's also so early that who knows what it will properly look like in a year, 3 years time.
Yeah, you don't want everyone signed to one place. At least I don't. But you also you especially don't want them to sign to a specific place. So that's like the game we're playing here, right?
Exactly.
Like with someone with Dorada, you want him to keep growing. Inevitably, he's gonna be a massive name in America, but for now, let him be a massive name in Mexico, who is creating a name in both Mexico and America at the same time, because he's still not the biggest possible star he can be yet. In Mexico. Let him get there first, because here's the thing, he is very clearly supposed to be the heir apparent to Mystico. That is not hidden. That is not shocking. He main events every show he's on, and rightfully so. So like, that's what you want. That's what you want. You want him to keep following Mystico's lead. I will say my favorite jokes of the week, though, is like, everyone's like, I think Lucha Blog said, it's like, WWE is going to be watching this guy Mystico and think, where can we get that guy? And I was like,
They'd be looking at Mystico and thinking, let's take the mask off of that
and
guy.
I think it showed that like him and MJF had like one of the highest quarters
Mhm,
from Wednesday
mhm,
on like the most watched Dynamite, obviously, in a while. And I was like, yeah, that's one guy I never have to worry about.
mhm, mhm.
um,
Let's talk about Dynamite then. Dynamite, Grand Slam Mexico. Good. I thought this was a really fun show as well. Matches were
yes,
Adam Cole, 14-man tag. The good guys beat the bad guys. I'm not going to talk about all 14 members of this match.
too many people.
Too many people. They added more people. It was 12, but a couple days later, we get 14. Kazuchika Okada defeats Mark Briscoe. Mystico defeats MJF. Hologram defeats Leo Rush. Mascara Dorado and Ricochet to win 4 million pesos. Mercedes Moné defeats Zeuxis to win another World Women's title. And the bad guys beat the good guys in the main event of the 10-man tag.
Yes, that is all what happened.
Well, I feel like the other notable bit was Adam Page opening up the show, giving that whole
So
promo in Spanish.
Oh yeah, shouts out to that guy. If anyone's questioning what main eventing all in, get over yourself. It's that. It's so clearly that. It couldn't even be more true. Like that guy, that reaction in Arena Mexico. Let's just say this. That will not be Hangman Page's last time in Arena Mexico.
Yeah.
That was like a guarantee. I think I saw somewhere that CMLL was asking. Like,
Brian Alvarez, Wrestling
yeah,
Observer Live, said
like
that
they were like,
apparently they're asked. CMLL
have him
apparently
back?
is asking for dates.
And AEW should just say yes.
Dual
They don't.
contract.
Here's the thing: they don't work on Fridays. There's
Mhm.
no reason they could be like, no, he can't do that. He doesn't go on Collision that much,
Or,
and
almost ever.
and even if he did, he'll be there the next day. Not that tough.
Mhm.
Need me some more Hangman in Mexico. Wow. Just wow. I watched that first segment. I was like, this guy couldn't be more the guy
Mhm.
than he is. Like, and I've been saying that obviously, and I know many others have been. This isn't just a me thing, but just continues to show that the pop he got at the beginning, the pop he got at the end of the show. It's like this, yeah.
Yeah.
The Hangman that they wanted years ago, he is here,
Yes.
full force,
Yes.
and crowning him will be the best choice they make.
Yeah.
Um,
And obviously, content-wise,
Yeah.
of the promo too, being that was sort of the theme of this show in a way,
Yeah.
PR-wise, is we are a guest in your home, and
Mhm.
to that extent, we are going to like
It was
honor and
awesome.
treat your home with respect and speak your language and all these sort of things. And it was really nice.
It was. It was. I have no problem also with like I don't think the show had like the blow away like top tier. I think the
Sure.
4-way was the closest
Agreed. Agreed.
for me, but I don't think it had like the blow away top tier that maybe people expected, but it didn't need to.
Yeah.
Because listen, this is the first time in Arena Mexico. While I do think AEW will return here, it's not a guarantee. So get everyone on the card you can, right? Just cool to give the Mexican fans that are there in attendance all these appearances. Adam Cole with the big pop, like all these, like everyone that's like they've seen over all these years coming out for the first time. It was so cool for them, right? You just felt that energy. And speaking of that energy, that Mystico
Yeah.
entrance,
Gotta talk about Mystico versus MJF.
I've watched that entrance like more. I've watched that entrance more than I even watched the show. Like I kept watching it during the week, and I didn't even finish the show yet.
Mhm.
My God, like that is a match that they could have literally just stood there, and it was a better match than like most MJF matches. Because he's bad. But he got the heat. He also got like attacked in an alleyway or something. What was it that they said? What was the report?
Sean Ross Sapp said something to the effect that apparently a guy followed MJF to his hotel to try to attack him, I guess, or something. That's the
That's what you
report.
get for that's what you get for ripping off Mystico's mask, buddy. Couldn't agree. It was me. Yeah. That's crazy. But yeah, what an experience that entrance was, and it's just like, and I'm so happy it happened on this show. It's like everyone got to see how special Mystico is
Yes.
to the lucha libre world, right? Like this is our guy. This is our legend here. when Excalibur said he's a legend to Lucha Libre, I was like, yes, but he's also just a legend.
Yes.
Like that, the Mystico that people know of from a decade plus ago is so different from the one we see now. And the match itself, like I said, pretty simple pathway. Like
Yep.
heel American versus the hero of Mexico.
Foreigner versus
Yeah.
local star.
The vibes were off the charts. Like it literally didn't matter what they did, but every time he got offense, I got my 2-second La Mystica tap, even if it wasn't the end. So that made me happy. I don't have a problem as much with the end as I thought I was going to.
The DQ finish.
As long as he gets his comeuppance, right? That
I thought about that. I was like, of all these matches, Mystico can't beat MJF clean. Come on.
I know that it pissed me off like when I first saw it because like what are we really? You can't just have him win clean. Yeah. Like obviously he went over, but it's so much more simple to just have him win in Arena Mexico. Have a moment, honestly. It would have been a true moment, but they went with the heat instead. So you have to come back to it.
You have to.
You have to. Whether that be All In, whether that be Anniversario, I don't care. You have to come back to it. Anniversario, if that happens, Mask versus Hair.
Agreed.
It should be Mask versus Hair either way. But especially if you do it at that show, I don't really want MJF to be the Anniversario Mystico match. But if that's where they're going, fine.
It truly sucks that MJF spent all that money in Turkey and then he has to get his head shaved. You know what I mean? Like that sucks. You know?
Well, he deserves it. He deserves it after what he did on the show. Mystico, my king, I forever love you, and thank you for everything you did here. That entrance alone made the show. Like it was like, why does this show matter? This.
I was reflecting on it. I don't know exactly the history of the nomenclature with calling Arena Mexico the cathedral of Lucha Libre.
But correct.
Right, I don't know exactly like what when that started or what in what context, but I was just thinking about like it's still around and that's a thing, and I was thinking about like this is the cathedral of Lucha Libre, obviously that's big religious ties to that verbiage, but then I was thinking about like Mystico's the big star, and we all have to remember Mystico, a guy that debuted as Mystico as this sort of like disciple or mentee of Fray Tormenta, the Lucha Libre priest, the Nacho Libre guy, going from that and then Mystico being this basically like a religious gimmicky figure thing to then becoming the top guy of the company in the cathedral.
He feels like a god.
He is a god to them, and that's not just hyperbole. It is meant to be religious in this sense.
Also, I forgot to say, pop for the Sin Cara mask.
Sin Cara mask takes it off.
That was awesome. That was awesome.
It's also just great to see. Well, it's also bringing up the Sin Cara of it all. It is great to see a guy that was so big in the early to mid 2000s that he gets picked up by WWE. That is a wet fart at the end of the day.
Yep.
And then just goes back to Mexico. CMLL says no. He has to go in AAA as Caristico. He just does that for a little bit. His gimmick is given to Mystico, is given to other guys, given to Drillistico nowadays. And then he has to kind of just work his way back into CMLL. He's able to go back to CMLL, but he's still Caristico. And then eventually he can finally become Mystico. And he's back again to this guy's a massive star, massive draw, and the company's as hot as ever.
The only reason I don't... Okay, so he didn't get either of the 2 wins I wanted him to get this week, which is fine if I get the rematches for both, by the way. But at the same time, it's like he doesn't need... That's the funny part about Mystico. He never needs to win. Sure. He is forever Mystico. Yeah. Like, doesn't matter. But yeah, I just keep looking back at that match, and I really did enjoy it for an MJF match. I just would have preferred a true finish.
Yeah, I'm in.
But at the same time, I kind of understand what they're going for. You can get a lot out of this. You can get a trios match with Mystico and two guys, whether that be
Sky
Speed,
Team,
right?
Team, and
Sky Team, or it could be
Jesus.
Jet Speed if you want to do it on
Sure.
Dynamite.
Yeah.
Based on where they seem to be going there.
That does feel like that could be like a Dynamite match coming up soon.
Who's gonna say no? Not me. I think that would be a fun one. And then you're building to Mystico versus MJF. Also, probably should include Forbidden Door in this. I don't know why you would do Mystico versus MJF in England, but that is coming up. So I will just act like that matters for this feud.
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
That's the kind of match where it's like it's like the Okada Mark Briscoe match where it's like only AEW can probably pull that off of Mystico
also,
versus MJF in England.
I do want to say this, and maybe people can yell at me. Missed opportunity to not, while he's still losing, do Ospreay and Mystico because they both clearly want it, and there's gonna be a time soon where Ospreay can never lose.
Mm-hmm.
He's still losing, so we can have him lose. I would have just ran it here, honestly. But
what about that as Forbidden Door?
Sure, but Ospreay wants it in Mexico.
Yeah, I agree.
So like, that's the. I'm guessing Ospreay has whatever mega match on that show. I don't know what, but he's the poster, so gonna have to be, and it's in England. I don't know. I just have so many thoughts. That was really good. What was after? Oh,
you have to think that's a title match, right? They're probably gonna do Adam Page and Ospreay. Do we do that?
Well, I don't know. We just did it. We could.
That makes sense.
I'm not gonna, or unless he fights a New Japan wrestler who I can't name. Yeah. Mercedes winning was cool.
Yep.
Always cool. I thought that match was better than I expected.
Yep.
Really fun. She took a lot of bumps and she won. So congrats to her.
I'll bring this up just a little bit now. The whole WWE knowing that they're going to watch this show. I thought to myself, yeah, there's obviously going to be they're probably going to try to scoop up a little bit of the male talent. I wouldn't be shocked by that. We'll find out if that happens. But then I also remembered that the women's division, especially it's an issue all in Mexico in these companies because that's women's wrestling is just a whatever reason harder thing culturally there. But the AAA women's division even more so is really bad. And they already did it with Stephanie Vaquer. And
they kept the two best women off of this show, in my opinion. So
La Catalina and
Persephone.
Yeah, but even then, I Zook sees as a match of Mercedes Moné, and I thought to myself, I could see WWE being like, yeah, let's pick up another woman.
Zook sees is not bad.
Yes.
I just think in terms of listen, hey, WWE, you had La Catalina and you blew it. That's not anyone else's problem.
Agreed.
Idiots. But yeah, I think anytime Mercedes wrestles anyone, you kind of just think that now. So then they had a good match. I enjoyed their match. I really enjoyed the last, was it 4 matches of this show, starting from Mystico and MJF and on. I didn't really like Mark Briscoe and Okada. I don't know if that was just me.
I think I went like 2.5.
I did too. I'm very just tired of Okada in autopilot. It's like I don't like. I'm learning. I don't need to watch it. Like I could skip it and I'm not going to miss anything. Which is not great, but that is the reality we live in. But the matches after that, if you told me MJF had a better match than Okada versus Mark Briscoe, I would have laughed in your face. But hey, that's the power of Mystico, baby. And I never talked about the 4-way. That was awesome.
4 was great. 4 was great.
That was
great week for Leo Rush, by the way. Throw it out to him as well.
God bless. Leo Rush should have some good weeks. He deserves it. He's carrying around Action Andretti, but when he's not,
but working CMLL is something Action Andretti should be doing.
That's true. He's not very good, but that's true.
Well, but he needs to work here to get better.
But you know who is good? Leo Rush. Leo Rush had a great showing in this match. Hologram won. Show some love for Ricochet and Massacre Dorado the Man. So I like that they just wrestled a tag match and then they're like, oh yeah, it's a 4-way. I kind of enjoyed that aspect of it. Also, Leo Rush and Ricochet would be a sick tag team. Hologram and Dorado worked great together. Yeah, this was really good. My favorite match of the show. And then the main event was a lot. The main event felt like
it was good. It was fun.
to me, the main event was, oh, this is just for the entrances.
The
wrestling's second,
not true.
you know? Like the wrestling's second to this, and that's fine, right?
So,
like that's what the show was. It's like, let's get the cool pops and the cool entrances, have some cool pops in the ring, and then all right, there's results.
now you can't build off one match in one country off of you can't build a Hall of Fame case around that. But at this point, I think we just got to submit Samoa Joe.
Oh
Just like
my
a
God,
guy that like he comes to Mexico. Has he ever worked Mexico? I can't think of him working Mexico before.
if he did, we
Probably
don't know about
AAA,
it.
right?
Maybe that sounds kind of right.
That like probably AAA with the whole partnership with TNA.
Yeah, he did.
Okay, like when was the last time you worked Mexico?
The last time he worked Mexico outside of the WWE house show, he did he did one AAA show in 2006. He was part of Team TNA.
He hasn't been back in. Well, I guess he did work a couple of the Mexico shows for WWE, but
there was an AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe live
TNA
show.
house show, and that was New Mexico.
Yeah, but there was one in WWE. Sorry, in 2018.
Oh yes.
They did run Mexico, but yeah, Samoa Joe. Listen, I've been all aboard the Samoa Joe is a Hall of Famer train. I voted for him last year. I'll vote for again this year. I don't know what else this man's got to do to prove he's that guy. Right? Here's the thing about I'm getting a Samoa Joe right here. I know we only have like 30 minutes left. Who gives a shit? This is what this show's for. I know like people like, oh, it didn't draw money. It wasn't the top. Shut up. Okay. Look at Samoa Joe. Look at his line of work. Look at his anytime he does literally anything, he makes it better. That's a great professional wrestler. That is an all-time great professional wrestler. He has the catalog. He has the accolades. He has just put him in the Hall of Fame. I don't think it's a debate. I really don't. The fact that he's fallen off and gotten back on, he should not fall off ever again. He should get in. And the more he continues, the more this AEW run goes, it just builds his case. Because like you said, you watch that entrance, you just watch Samoa Joe show up, you're like, wow, what this.
You watch him work too, and the crowd's like,
oh yeah,
everything he does.
Well, that's the thing about Samoa Joe. People thought he was done. People thought he was finished. I didn't, because I'm a believer. This guy's 46 years old, looks exactly the same that he has looked for the past 15 years, still goes out there, does the damn thing, can still have a great match, can still get the people into it, right? This is a guy you just believe in because he's great. I'm so happy he got that AEW title run because that helps turn the company around, as we know. Obviously, that's a Hall of Famer, baby. That's a Hall of Famer right there.
The thing about the thing I've heard people pro Samoa Joe voters talk about is this idea of like, he is probably the reason he has no drawing case is because he was always working for companies who had no idea how to book wrestling. The TNA.
He worked TNA for so long, man.
But WWE, of course.
The only time he's ever been booked correctly is a good portion of this AEW run.
Ring of Honor.
Ring of Honor way back in the day.
Yeah,
and
a decade ago.
Part of his NXT run.
Yes.
Like we can say everything about WWE and such, but they did book Samoa Joe as Samoa Joe for a little bit there.
Good bookers know what to do with Samoa Joe, and he goes over extremely well. Bad bookers are like, I don't know what to do with the guy, and it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Samoa Joe?
I think the best way to embody Samoa Joe and what he's done, he got signed to NXT to literally never be called up. That was what they did when they signed him. And then they said, oh shit, this guy's the freaking man. We have no choice. Like, that's the power of Samoa Joe, especially in the second half of his career. It's like when Tony Khan signed him, he did not sign him for him to become world champion. Let's just be honest, right? He signed Samoa Joe because that is a Ring of Honor legend. That is a legend in this business.
A guy that has worked for 5 years, maybe at that point.
Right. the guy that had concussion problems, all these different things. He signed him to just be in the door, maybe close out his career correctly. Now looking back, I was there at his first AEW show when he destroyed Max Caster. This guy's just the man. He's just the man who makes everyone say, "Oh, he's so much better than that." You want to talk about legendary skills in both sides of the ring? He's a fantastic worker and he's a fantastic promo. Everything he does is better.
Yeah.
That's what he does. He's making the trios titles matter, man. Like the ops are awesome.
Yeah.
When the ops came together, everyone's like, Hook, originally, but now it's like him, Hobbs, and Shibata. It's like when these guys show up, it's the coolest thing ever. It's like
there's more of I hate to say this about Hook, but there's more of a legitimacy to Hobbs in that part of that team than Hook.
Dude, Hobbs finally having something. God bless. Because Hobbs, it feels like he was just jumping around for the past like 3 years, right? And now it feels like he's found his groove finally.
Agreed.
But yeah, this main event was fun, like you said. So Ospreay did the spot where he was gonna get the trigger thing, whatever it's called. What do they call it?
The BT trigger or
he did like the
TK
hop up
or something like that.
He did the sick hop up and like bounce on the ropes and hit the Os cutter. I was like, why did you not save that for the tag title match? I was like, that was sick. Or not tag title match, but the big tag all in match. That was like one of the first times I like ever thought that to myself. I was like, that would have been a cool one to save. Like that was really sick.
That's what fears me though about Will Ospreay and especially the Young Bucks in terms of their creativity. It's just like you see that in this sort of main event, and you're like, oh, that was cool. Maybe you should have saved it for another one. But then I think to myself, they're gonna top it somehow. I don't know how.
Absolutely. Like it was. Here's the thing: it wasn't a spot that like, oh my god, I can't believe you didn't save it. But I was like, that was pretty cool to see and all in, because like ultimately this is a match of 100 people. Like it's hard to remember all these little things. The only reason I remember probably is because I just watched it, but I literally was like, hold on. That was sick as hell. Yeah, the main event was fun, and we got a second Hangman pop, so that's what mattered the most.
Exactly right. Friday show, Fantastic Mania Mexico. I watched this full show. This show had Red Velvet defeat Kira. Bad match, by the way. For only bad match I think of.
Heard Red Velvet had a tough week.
Oh, Kira was not there.
Kira's going to Japan, which is good because she has she's someone that I've seen that has potential, but she's still very green.
Yeah, it was not a good look for her. Red Velvet I thought was fine this week, but Kira was not the right dance partner. La Geratita defeats Thunder Rosa. Magnus Ruggiero, Defunto, and Zendokan Jr. defeat Action Andretti, Leo Rush, Robbie X, and Rocky Romero. Love me, Defunto. The Zendokan Jr., rules. Defunto, Barboza. These guys, Galleon Phantasma, I love.
Defunto, you know what the Califio main event was?
It was them, the Galleon Phantasma versus Teton, Shingo, and Hiromu, I believe. And I didn't check out Saturday, obviously, yet, but I'm excited to see that match. They won. I love that team. Mercedes Moné defeats La Catalina to retain the CMLL World Women's title. That was a really great match. Tsuji defeats Ultimo Guerrero.
What did you say like that?
He
goes by Yoda. No,
he just goes by Yoda. So that's...
you did that probably as perfectly as you should have. Honestly,
that was my verbal parenthesis.
Yoda Tsuji.
That was my verbal parentheses, is what I call that. Hiromu Takahashi, Shingo Takagi, and Teton defeat Francisco Akira, Templario, and TJP. Neon defeats Kevin Knight. Ricochet defeats Volador Jr. And Bandito and Hologram defeat Mascara Dorada and Mystico. I gave that match 4.5 stars, Scotty. I will say this. I think I may be over on it. Cage Match has it at 8.14 right now. But I thought this match was great.
You just understood the assignment. That's correct. Don't let the woke society of Cage Match turn you down.
I thought the main event was great. Just everything you saw this week of Mystico having a great week, Dorada having a great week, Bandito and a hologram.
These are literally the MVPs of the week, all put into one match.
and would he be surprised? The match was great.
Yeah, like it's the most anticipated match I haven't watched yet. this week. It's
Mhm.
I haven't watched a minute of Dominion, by the way. Uh,
That's fine. That's all
no,
right.
actually, no, I did watch one match. I watched Tanahashi and Yu Uemura, and it ended before I could say, "Oh, this is getting good." So that
Yeah,
was sad.
that's
But
right.
yeah, I'll get back to that eventually. But no, I love to hear that. Was anything else on the show? All right, let's do this. I'm gonna have you tell me what I can delete, so I don't have to watch the
Sure.
full show. So you told me the first match. Do I need to watch Thunder Rosa?
No.
No, sounds good. Do I need to watch the 8-man?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes. I thought
I
that
will
ruled.
watch.
I thought that match ruled. I think I went 3 3/4 on it.
Okay, well that is the Zondoken Jr. difference.
DeFuto hits like this cleanest, like he does this bit where he like
Oh,
jumps
the
up.
double rope jump thing.
Yeah, he does the double rope jump up
Yeah,
and then like a diving elbow cross body sort of thing.
yeah, it's psychotic.
Extremely clean.
Yeah.
Extremely clean.
I will watch Mercedes versus Catalina. I will watch Ultimo versus Suji. Do I need to watch the trios match?
That was I would say if you want, it's good, but you've seen all these guys. You probably know what it is. You don't
Yeah,
have to watch it,
I'm
but it is
frankly,
good.
I'm more into the one that they had on Saturday than I am this one. So
I sort
that's
of feel
more
like
different.
I don't know what I didn't see any reviews for that match yet, but I sort of feel
Yeah.
like that could be better. And if you're more into that, just watch probably the Saturday one.
Cool. All right.
You know, if you're watching,
What is
because
it?
I'm going to recommend also Neon Kevin Knight, Ricochet Volador Jr. So it's
Okay.
like you could watch that 6-man.
I'll keep it for now.
Yeah,
I'll keep it for now.
it's
I'll
it's
see. I'll
15
see what I get
minutes. You
there.
know, watch it if you like. It's not a
Yeah.
big deal.
Okay. Well, I deleted. I trimmed some of the
Mhm.
extra stuff. So
And for
we'll do that.
reference, Cage Match has that at 8 stars.
All
Or
right, I'll
whatever.
watch it. Fine, I'll watch it. But yeah, this was a
And
good
you might
show.
as watch the first 2 matches. They were sub 10 minutes. And
I probably will end up watching at least one of them. But yeah, so to follow up what you said, you found this to be a good show, top to bottom.
I thought this
as well.
found to be a really good show. I really enjoyed the show. I thought Bandito Hologram, the main event, was great. Mercedes Monet, La Catalina, great. La Catalina hit a 1-wing angel, which ruled.
That's awesome.
She also hit a
La Catalina is so good.
she hit a pedigree on the ring apron and then grabbed a bottle of water and did the Triple H spray thing.
That's awesome. That's so beast.
Ruled. And then I don't think Mercedes Moné did it on purpose, but to stop La Catalina from going into the ring and doing some more offense, Mercedes Moné hit a super kick.
That's
I don't think she did it on purpose, but it
no.
was
I've been a big fan of La Catalina. She's had actually some of my like favorite, like not like 4-star matches, but she's good. Like she's good.
She's
Like
solid.
she's a good like give you a nice surprise like 3.5-star match from time to time. Her and Toni Storm last year was really good. If no one watched that, her and Persephone had a really good match earlier this year. She's just really solid and kind of the next face of that women's division.
Yeah.
So when I saw that they just made this for this show and like the way it was, where La Catalina is like, I can't stand Mercedes Moné took this belt. I was like, this is real. I was kind of shocked because I thought that's where the long-term build was going to be for that.
They could always go back around. I mean,
yeah, for sure. They probably do.
Thing.
I don't mind going right to it because obviously this belt's going to be on her for a while.
How do you think? Maybe this is not a conversation.
How does she lose them all?
Yeah, how do you think Mercedes? I partly think she's going to do a kayfabe injury and relinquish all the titles.
Maybe that would suck though for a lot of these companies, like the Austria one or whatever the fuck. She's gonna just send that back in the mail. But like, I don't know because I think a lot of people don't think she's gonna beat Toni Storm, and that starts her downfall.
That's a good way to start it.
But... yeah. Well, she has to lose the TBS first before she loses everything else. So yeah. Also, shout out to that story that ended up not being true about Mariah May ruining plans.
Yeah,
I thought that was funny this week. Shout out, thank you, Dave, for the comedy. I like that was instantly like, yeah, that was not the plan. I was like, yeah, no shit. Why would it be the plan? Why would Toni Storm versus Mercedes Moné not be the long-term plan of this big stadium show for the first time ever in America. Like, come on.
I wonder who told that story to Dave, because Sean Ross had to talk to someone else. Do you think Mariah May talks to Dave?
No, I don't think Mariah May gives a shit, actually. Mariah May's have a good time doing what she's doing now. Sorry, Blake Monroe. I will never be able to call her that. I don't mind the name. I know a lot of people talk about it. Okay, let me have this little rant here. I don't understand how like Stephanie Vaquer and Julia keep their names, and then the person who's like heavily established, like in America.
I thought about this week.
Like, don't get me wrong. You know my love for Stephanie Vaquer, love Julia, but I was like, how is this? How? That doesn't make sense.
Why is it that like the AEW stars have to get their name changed? Other than I think obviously Cody Rhodes, but that's too early.
Ray Phoenix and Penta.
Penta
changes his name all the time.
Yeah, he changes his name all the time.
I don't blame them for not doing Penta del Cerro Miedo. But yeah, Ray Phoenix kept his.
Ethan Page kept his, but I think he owned his or something.
Yeah, I think so.
But
like Ricky Starks and Mariah have to change their name.
Brian Pillman Jr.
That doesn't matter.
It's really, I think everyone that goes to NXT other than Ethan Page, I believe, have changed their names from AEW.
The Mariah one just breaks my brain.
Yes. I think Ricky Starks breaks it a little bit, but Mariah May is more so egregious in my opinion.
And more established as Mariah May. This was former AEW Women's World Champion, famously in this massive story in AEW, all these different things, and they changed her name. I was like, why? I don't get it. Again, I don't have a problem with the new name. Like, I know a lot of people make that a debate all the time. Like, there is a personal connection with the Blake part, and Monroe is
I have nothing wrong with the name itself.
I just don't get why
the name was changed.
Yeah, exactly. But whatever. Who gives a shit?
She spent so much time, like 2 years basically, establishing her name as like, a quote unquote household name of wrestling fans. Yeah. And then they're like, okay, let's change it.
I'll never ever call her Blake Monroe because she established herself to me as Mariah May. I've had a conversation to her as Mariah May that probably also helps the case.
True.
Of like, I'm not gonna. I thought about that the other day, like when she did her NXT thing. I was like, oh my god, I forgot I interviewed her. That's crazy.
Also, I'll say this in terms of constructions of names, it rolls off the tongue so much better than Blake
it's her name.
Monroe.
It's her actual name.
Yes. Mariah May is graceful. It flows right. Blake hard K there.
Right.
Monroe. It's just like, oh God.
It's just, it just feels like they felt like getting in their own way on that one. I don't know why.
WWE
she'll be fine. I don't have any worry about her or anything, but I couldn't believe it because I was just like, how did Julia keep her name? I was like, that was Julia, the one that I just sat there thinking to myself. I was like,
okay. Stephanie Vaquer and Julia is also one thing. How did Jordan Grace keep her name? I guess because she was already established as Jordan Grace.
Oh yeah, maybe because she already had peaked over. That's probably why.
In TNA and stuff. But they just recently changed her music. I don't know if you saw that.
I did. That's really bad. If they changed Stephanie Vaquer's name, I feel like that would have been a problem though, because her name's so like it's such a wrestling name.
Yes.
Does that make sense? Like, it's just so good.
Yes.
Julia, I thought they would for sure change her name. So that still shocks me that she's now on the main roster and still Julia. But hey, whatever. They don't make sense to me and they never will. So
CMLL, are there any other big talking points from this week that feel important? I think WWE, I talked about it. I think they're probably going to scoop up some people. I think they'll scoop up some women. I think that feels...
They're going to try.
That feels like they're going to try. We talked about the dual contract stuff. I do really... We talked about the PR of it all from AEW's perspective of being a guest in your house versus, I think Swerve said, like, we're not going to take over your country. We're just going to be a guest in your home. I think that's what Swerve Strickland said. Everything about this week was exactly, I think, how I wanted it to go. And it went without a hitch, I think. It was great. Yeah. The entire week was great. Great ratings TV wise as well. Everything about this week, I think, was done perfectly and executed perfectly, and it succeeded.
I think it guaranteed you coming back.
Agreed.
So if I can look forward to a CML week every year, I am gonna be a happier person by
Mhm.
default as a wrestling fan.
Mhm.
Um, I think this week was an incredible week to celebrate CMLL. It was an incredible week to celebrate Lucha Libre. It was everything I feel like needed to happen after the previous few months, right? Um, it just further showed who is the premier of Lucha as well. I feel I really don't know if there's a better weekly show than just Super Viernes as a whole. I mean, I didn't even watch that show yet, but it feels like every week you're just consistently getting good to great wrestling from this company. And this week, when all the lights were on, they gave you top of the line, better than anything wrestling type stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And a lot of it was their guys. I think that's important.
Yeah.
Like, yes, AEW was there. Yes, New Japan was there. But everyone's talking about their guys. Yeah, everyone's talking about Bandito too. But like Dorada, Mystico, those are two of the biggest stories coming from this.
Defunto, if you're me.
Defunto, Defunto and Zandokan Jr. need to be more involved next year. Like that's the funny part about this one. You don't have Soberano Jr. obviously because he's
Injured.
healing up. You don't
Shewa.
have
I'm a big Shewa guy.
Yep. You don't have any Zandokan Jr., who's literally been like the story of CMLL this year.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I know he was on the Friday show and the Saturday Calistio show, but like he's not on the main ones in a main spot. Like there's still so much uncovered here.
Zandokan Jr. is not the crossover guy yet, but they're crossing over all the other
Right.
guys.
Like even Hetchy was in a secondary role, and he's been like one of the main guys. Obviously for this, no Cavanario.
Yep. No
Like
Cavernario. I totally forgot about that's also a
he
testament
was
to
on
the
the
depth of CMLL's roster.
he was on the other show they do on Tuesday. So
Oh,
he was in
yeah.
the main event of that show. So, you know, because they still run their normal schedule.
Did Neon only have one match? I feel like
He
he
had
only had
two.
one match.
He had two. He had the hologram one,
Oh, yes,
which was
the
really
hologram
good,
one,
and
I'm
then
forgetting.
the Kevin Knight one. Obviously, I think had he got that main event spot like he was supposed to, he would be a big talking point as well. I like there's still so much to I think discover in bigger spots for a lot of these wrestlers.
Yeah.
But you put your two biggest Star Juniors had a really good year. That's another one.
Mhm.
Obviously he's been kind of one of the mainstays. Thankfully we didn't have Esfinge. But you know, other than that, there's still so much here. There's
Where
still so
where
much
where was
here.
Euphoria? Where no, he was on the show. What am I
Euphoria was in the
the 8-man thing.
the 8-man, but I agree, there's never enough Euphoria. There was not enough Gran Guerrero.
Mhm.
That's
Euphoria,
what I
just the
always say.
cannonball that gets shot out through the ropes.
Euphoria is fascinating. No Valiente. Um, there's a lot of guys that again we haven't got to see yet, but we will. And if you subscribe to CML this week, you subscribe to their YouTube subscription, I think they won you over.
Yeah.
I think they definitely won you over.
I said Euphoria was the cannonball in the ropes. Valiente is who I was thinking of. He's
Yeah, well, Euphoria is my pirate king. He's
yeah.
not a pirate; he just looks like one.
He looks like he should join.
Yeah, when Euphoria took his mask off last year, I said to myself, "Man, you would be a killer heel without that thing." Like, I don't know why it took you so
Put
long.
an eye
But
patch
he's
on
a
that
beast.
guy. You know?
Exactly. He's got the bandana on, and that's good enough.
Mhm.
But yeah, just a great week from CMLL. Great week for Lucha Libre. Great week for AEW. I guess a great week for New Japan.
We'll
They
give
did
him
have
a
Dominion
bonus.
this
We'll give
week,
him we'll give
so
him points on the back end.
yeah, a lot of people hated Dominion.
Yeah.
And this is a big week coming up for New Japan too. We weren't going to talk about that, but the Death Pain Invitationals this week.
Mhm.
We'll see if the G1's going to be dog shit or not this week. Sorry, half of it. There's only half of it on Monday. But there's both United Empire matches are tomorrow. If they both win, I'm going to lose my shit. Taichi needs to win. I'm sorry if you're a Cal Newman fan. He needs to win. Sorry. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Not that sorry. Taichi needs to win. You can't have both lose.
Yeah. Well, I know.
Ishii should not be in the tournament. Like that,
Agreed.
his body can't handle it.
All right, we gotta move on. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
we have to move on, and we have to move on
I
to
did technically move on. I was on a different product altogether.
fair point. We got to talk about Night of Champions.
Cancel the show.
Well, I mean, look, Scotty. Last week when I said, said to you that we should have a conversation about the show, the political ramifications of this show and WWE lately, and not just that, but also like what kind of is the build of Cena versus Punk, and whether or not I feel comfortable watching the show. That was a week ago, and now Scotty, I gotta bring it up. The U.S. has now bombed Iran, in my opinion, for no reason. But
that's your opinion?
Yeah, in my opinion, for no reason. But now you have these questions of
the thing that happened.
Yes, no, sorry. My opinion, it should not have happened because there's no reason to have done that. But the thing of now is the question of should the show even happen? Should this show will this show even happen? That's the question lately. We woke up today and I seen Sean Ross Sapp being like, I'll reach out to WWE, Saudi Arabia's, not Iran, obviously, not Israel, obviously, but it's nearby. So not the airspace. Also, the airspace is closed down around there, obviously. So what's that going to be like for everybody? Will this show happen? That's kind of where we're sitting at with Night of Champions.
Of course it will.
I know, I agree. It will, of course, happen, and I'll hate it, and it's dumb and stupid.
Go on now.
I like the idea that even bombs won't stop CM Punk from going to Saudi Arabia.
Oh, dear God. Yeah.
The world's great. The world's great. Scotty and I's opinion on this is the world's great.
Yeah, when part of the bachelor, when we're at the bachelor's party, part of the conversation is, oh, we're all past the draft age. All right, cool. Except for my friend, he doesn't turn 26 until August, so rushing against the clock. He was like, my knees are bad though, so we're fine.
My knees are also bad, and I'm just hoping. What I'm doing every day, Scotty, is I'm staring 14 hours at a screen to try to make my eyesight worse, so I can just try to get out of it that way.
Oh, you're past the age. You're good. They'll take the high schoolers. Fuck, this is fucked up. This show's gonna happen.
I have also, I'm not gonna say specifically about anything. I told you about this last week, but we've family in the military as well, and
it's not a funny thing.
Scotty, there was news today about Iran making decisions about stuff that would specifically affect my family, so that ain't great.
Yeah, we're just I'll just say this. I am hopeful for anyone that has family connections, obviously, to military and such. Anyways,
we're not even at 16. We're not even at 6 months.
I understand. No, I understand the world we are living in.
So part of this conversation with Night of Champions.
Yeah, let's talk about wrestling now.
Is I brought up last week about like I'm very frustrated with WWE and the stuff with the connections having with Trump, and then it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse.
Totally. I'm upset that their best show of the year might happen in Saudi Arabia.
I talked to you about how the after the show I said last week about how part of the issue about like talking about WWE in regards to also like my stance and wanting to boycott WWE is that like I don't buy tickets to the shows. I'm not going to WWE events. I haven't done that in years. I don't buy any merch from WWE. You can't catch me dead in WWE merchandise, right?
You have 10 Yeet shirts, but yeah, sure.
No, they're no Yeet shirts. Excuse me. But really, it's like outside of not buying tickets, which are also cost an arm and a leg, and outside buying merch, it's like the only way you can really like not. I don't think there's any other way you can like really boycott the company because TV wise, they're making guaranteed money. Streaming wise, they're making guaranteed the money. They have shielded themselves
so much
from
money
boycotts.
they don't know what to do with themselves.
Yeah, they have shielded themselves from basically boycott people, at the end of the day. Obviously they've shielded themselves from like losing viewership, but it's also like
What do they give a shit?
the company can now do whatever they want, and I don't, even if I don't watch their product, they're
Yeah.
still gonna make the money.
Yeah.
And
You know
that
what's gonna
sucks.
happen? Say in whatever, however long Netflix doesn't want them anymore. Oh, look at that. They're just gonna get another deal
Yeah,
because that's how this works.
yeah, yeah.
They are
There'll be more
weekly
money.
live television.
Mhm.
Doesn't matter. They can't be like, you just can't, like, yes, you cannot watch them just because you know, like the product or whatever. That won't affect them.
Yeah.
Nothing
It
affects them.
Nothing affects them. And well, now you also have like this last week of like I'll say it's like soft PR with Nick Khan and Stephanie McMahon talking about Vince. That's
Mhm.
just like what waters are we currently testing? Because that's
Mhm.
what that is them testing the waters.
I don't think it's a water of bringing him back, but I definitely think it's a water of being able to talk about him again.
Yeah, that might be true. It's
To
whatever it
start.
is, something. It's something, and I don't like
It's
it. It at
it's
all.
waters I don't want to ever adventure into personally.
So then it becomes this thing of morally, I have so many objections to what this company stands for and all these sort of things,
Mm,
especially as like their connections with the government become more
yeah.
and more out there, more and more obvious out there, and in conjunction, the government gets, in my opinion, worse and worse and worse and worse, week by week, week week
I like
by
that you
week.
hit the in my opinion.
In my that again, verbal parentheses. Um. Uh. So then it becomes this thing of like, well, then what can I do to talk about this? And I kind of feel like, and I was thinking about this. I saw some posts and stuff. We talked about it. People in comments say that like we kind of try to do a good job of like following like the lawsuits and everything like that. Like,
Us?
yes,
Oh,
that we
you're
kind of
welcome.
do a good job of keeping
You
track
mean
and
you
updating.
mean us?
Yes, I do. Hold on. No. No, Scotty, I mean us. um, uh, I
The fact we have 2 of those is
great
incredible.
visual bits.
Oh dear
Um,
God. That's why
so
you should watch.
all this to say is that like I have
This is a serious
massive
conversation, by
issues
the way.
with WWE, but I do feel like it is, if I can't do anything physically to boycott them, then I do feel like it might be important of us when we
Call
talk
their shit out.
about WWE, we talk about the shittiness of the company and
Mm,
call the shit out. And it's that
yeah,
continued thing of we can't boycott them, but we can verbally protest them week after week on this show.
damn right.
And I think
You're absolutely right.
that's kind of what we're faced in. So let's talk
Yeah, this
about this
company
shitty pay
sucks,
per
man.
view from a shitty company in in a shitty country that's connected to a shitty government and all these sort of things.
I will say this. I'm terrified for these wrestlers naturally.
Yeah.
I don't think anything will happen because, like, I don't think they're gonna just be like, "Oh, let's go attack the wrestling company."
Yeah.
But either way, it's still scary,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
naturally.
it's definitely scary. I mean, it was technically scary years ago.
Yeah, yeah, they've done this a few times. This isn't the first. This is what they have signed up for,
Yeah,
and
and it's at the
yeah,
same time, it's not that like Saudi Arabia shares a border with Iran. I mean, they share waters. They share the Arabian Sea with Iran. So it's not like I'm literally looking at a map. I'm not that genius. I'm not a genius. I'm literally just looking at a map. They don't share physical borders.
I'm not a
So
genius. I don't know geography.
so there is a thing of like it is worrisome. I think there's would be concerns about airspace and everything. Um I don't I don't know I don't know nuclear issues and what if they would be affected by that, but that's the
I
reality we have to live in,
you
Scotty.
So you know something that I thought about this week? This has nothing to do with, what you were talking about, but I do have to say this before I forget it. I am genuinely shocked WWE didn't put Punk versus Cena on All In Day. Thank you.
That's a good point. That is a good point.
It's almost like they showed some restraint. They're like, oh, we can actually just put Punk in Saudi Arabia. That will make people talk differently about him instead.
Yeah.
Way worse.
So to that end, then let's talk about as John Cena called the capitalist CM Punk versus
Hey, by the way, that
John Cena.
promo hilarious. I don't care what anyone says. Hilarious
Okay,
promo.
yes, we have to talk about the John Cena pipe bomb promo because a wet noodle of a promo in terms of for me. I mean, the amount of people being like, "This is the hardest." I mean, look, this is the hardest heel character of John Cena we've seen the entire time. But that is not because that this promo was so hard, Scotty. It was because the rest of it has been so bad that this just stands out and is above everything else he's done. In my opinion.
Yeah, he couldn't he didn't get to say a lot of different things that I wish he could have. I honestly have
If
only
you
seen
want to
clips of it.
turn the key, you bring up Jack Perry or you say "Cry
Oh,
Me
I
a River."
know.
End of this promo, he's like, and at the, and if you don't like that or something like that,
Yeah.
and then he said, "It's a small world after all." And I thought to myself, no, you say "Cry Me a River" right there. What are you doing?
Yeah. I get why so this is the thing with like anytime Punk would used to reference like those things in his first year with this company and no one reacts. Part of me thinks is that's why he didn't do it because he's like, no one's gonna give a shit. Like, yeah, people online will, but whatever.
Yeah,
The promo was funny. It made me laugh, and that's what Cena's supposed to be doing for me now at this point. You know what's really funny? Also, they did the Fanatics Fest thing this week.
yeah.
And Cena's just a baby face. I'm like, see how much better this is. Like, see, he's just John Cena.
It almost makes me
What we could have
wonder:
done?
does he actually want to be a heel right now?
No, there's no way he wants to be a heel. No part of this feud, or not this feud, this entire year has told me, oh, this guy, he's pumped to be a heel. He just wanted to be John Cena, kissing babies, hugging people for the last year, and they were like, "Can we make you do something completely different?" He was probably like,
And well, no, Scotty, he may have thought that to himself, but at the end of the day, this guy is one of the biggest yes men.
"That's true.
Like
That's true. He
wrestling.
always will be.
Yeah.
He does what the company wants,
Yeah.
and it is not for the better." But yeah, I didn't. I the promo was funny. And I think he was funny. I like that he named Nick Nemeth, Claudio Castagnoli, and Matt Cardona because like that was funny as shit because remember all those berries. I was like, that's funny. I saw someone say like, oh, these are like secretive like people for Nick Jackson, like by staff initials or something. And I was
Oh
like,
my
what?
god.
I was
What
like,
the
I was like, I
fuck?
don't think that's true. I think he legitimately just actually buried them all, and he is playing it up, and that's beautiful.
I just took it as like they're friends with those guys.
You
Let
know what
us
I
name some
yeah. I
friends
mean,
in other companies.
that's so the funny thing is Cena is friends with all these people, but he also did, uh, especially Matt Cardona.
Because I don't think he did it with Cesaro Claudio.
But
I don't recall seeing anything from him
they
doing it with
always people
Claudio.
thought he should have beat him for the U.S. title, and he didn't.
Okay.
Uh, um,
But that's different. That's not necessarily the same
I
thing
guess.
as Cena
I
did.
guess it's just like he just picked 3 guys. Whatever, it's fine.
Yeah.
He could have. He there was a long list he could have continued on. Wade
Yeah.
Barrett works for the company. Why are you gonna say Wade Barrett, right? Like, you know, gotta say the people outside. Anyways, this match, you know, it saddens me because like naturally I read John Cena versus CM Punk and I get excited
Yep.
because you know I know what they're capable of.
Mhm.
I saw them even in the Elimination Chamber this year just
Yep.
respark something. But boy, oh boy, have they went out of their way to make sure I care a lot less about it than I would have if it was literally anywhere else on the planet. uh it's just the epitome of WWE in 2025,
Yeah.
you know, and it's fitting. Like when they announced it, I first of all I was bummed originally, and I was like, "No, you know what? It's perfect." It's just so nails this company to the core. I was like, it's I can't even fight it. Will the match be decent? Probably. They'll will it to something, but do I care? Not really.
I like how stateside fans get like John Cena versus R-Truth in like a sub 5-minute match, and
Yeah, baby.
John Cena versus like who cares, whatever. But you want the big dream one that like when John
The
Cena
only
returned,
one.
everyone was like, CM
Yeah.
Punk, you got to do that match.
Yeah.
No, we're gonna do that in Saudi.
Yeah.
The big,
just
and
like-
by the way, the biggest payout for these two guys. In
Oh
Saudi.
yeah. Oh yeah. They aren't. So the only good thing I could say, not that it fucking matters, but they haven't billed it as last time ever, like they did with
Sure.
Randy.
Sure.
So like that's the only good thing I can give to any of you people that
Yeah.
may want to see this match in America one more time. But who cares? Fucking sucks. Cena wins. LOL. Heel run continues, and we'll see you at SummerSlam when Cody takes the belt back. God willing.
King of the Queen match tournament. Who gives a shit about this? They receive a match for their world championship at SummerSlam. Right now, we have Randy Orton versus either Cody Rhodes or Jey Uso. That feels like a
That's another one, by the way. They're just gonna give away Randy versus Cody Rhodes after all this time in the King of the Ring finals in Saudi Arabia.
That's a great point.
Like, holy shit, they went 2 for 2.
They were teasing this for months and then just
months, years since the moment the fucking guy came back, dude. And they're like, what if we did this in Saudi too?
For belt, for a crown.
Either that or you're getting the worst match of all time, which is Randy Orton versus Jey Uso. So
yeah. Which fucking the slowest bullshit. And then you got the Queen of the Ring, which is going to be Asuka versus either Roxanne Perez or Jade Cargill.
Asuka versus Jade Cargill sounds like an absolute terrifying match.
There is something about that where it's like, okay, Jade is not that good at bell to bell, right? We can all agree, right?
Wow.
Shocker. Hot take. Put her with someone like Asuka, and it's like maybe you can get something here out, you know?
Yeah, maybe. You're right. Jade's winning. There you go.
Yeah, I think Jade's winning that overall.
Jade's gonna get cashed in on, brother.
That exactly what I said at the Naomi thing. We're gonna have Jade versus Tiffany.
Yeah.
Jade wins.
Oh my God.
Naomi cashes in, becomes champion.
That match is going to be so bad.
Yes.
Holy shit. Good for Naomi. She can save the day.
Cody versus ideally Cody versus Cena at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Crazy if anything else. And then the other two matches on here were for the US title, Jacob Fatu versus Solo Sikoa, and for the IC title, Dominic Mysterio versus AJ Styles. He's popping up. He's popping up here.
Yeah, people think this is his last WWE match, and I'm like, just give up.
Every match is his last WWE match.
Yeah, whatever. All right, that's Night of Champions. That's the show, everybody. Thanks for having us. Ryan watched AAA, hated himself. I watched Stardom. I had a better time.
I watched the main event of Stardom. I'll let you know that.
Thanks, man. Thanks, I appreciate it.
Right, this morning, I was like, do I watch some of the Tuesday show or do I watch the main event of Stardom, knowing that it was a long 32-minute main event? And so I watched the main event, and I thought it was great. Shocker!
Wow! Breaking news.
Do you have any hot takes you need to publicly say about the main event, or have you already said those in private discords?
I don't know. I was in private discords. I mostly just fucking took victory laps on victory laps on victory laps, and I did that publicly too. So like, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
I was told for weeks. Sure, he's winning. Sure, he's gonna win. Sure, he's not winning. Get out of my face. Do you know who you're talking to?
Not just that, Scotty.
You know who I am.
You would call me down there because not just that, Scotty, but like I know that Suri's gonna win. I am a casual Stardom watcher.
I know. Like I know. A lot of listen. Obviously, I am, as people called me this week, the Sun Agent. But come on. Was the only reason Shuri got that belt was because someone was leaving and they needed a Stardom wrestler to beat her. That is the only reason that happened.
Yeah.
Sorry, it sucks for Shuri, but that is just the world that happens.
Yeah,
just the way it goes. Match was excellent. Saori will be a great champion, and you should see my interview with her because cheap plugs are what I'm all about. All subtitled. You're welcome.
The other thing to mention, I feel like just before we go on this is, of course, Bozilla popping up in Stardom.
Oh yeah, that's a big story. Yeah, I was so unfazed because one, I knew, and two,
Scotty, all the Scotty scoops over here again.
I
Scotty's secret scoops where he
but
doesn't
the
tell
best
anyone about it, and then
so the best
afterwards
way I
goes,
do
"I
my
do."
scoops. No, the best way I do my scoops. If you watch my Joshi show, I hint at a big surprise. Like I'm just like, there's gonna be a surprise in this match. Please pay attention to what I'm saying.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's
How do we feel
that's
about
how it is.
Bozilla in Stardom? I think that's a nice move.
It's the right direction for her after not getting signed
Mhm.
by a company. She
So the idea is that she left Marigold. She took a look at the market, got a bunch of no's, or maybe not yet.
definitely not yet.
And
If I
then
had to guess,
and then
she's still
instead of
green.
instead of going back to Marigold, goes to Stardom.
Yes. Well, I don't know if people know this. Stardom's wrestlers are the ones that get signed the most. Like that's just the reality of it. So,
It's got more
like
eyes at the very least.
as much as people want to say there's a WWE Marigold connection, there's been one, by the way, total. Um, that's just how it goes. And listen, to me, Marigold didn't need her back. They've moved on. They are in a different spot than they were when she left, and I think Stardom kind of could use this little burst
I
of
agree.
Bozilla. Stardom's obviously red hot, so people are gonna be like, Stardom doesn't need shit. I fuck off. Like
Well, you and I talked about this after
they're in.
Kamitani's first defense, right? When we talked about how,
Mm,
like, okay, first defense done, Tam Nakano's gone. How
she still has no
we know
challenger since
Cerie's
then.
coming in, so it's like we need a little bit of like we
Yeah,
need something. Stuff is gonna start going down, so we need a little bit of stopgap, a little bit, and bringing in Cerie and then bringing in Bozilla, I think, is a good burst of energy to the company as well.
yeah. I mean, listen, there's a difference between bringing in Sari and bringing in Bozilla. The difference is Sari is still going to be full freelancer. She's still going to be working all these different shows. She's still going to be doing what she does.
Yeah.
She is not signing a contract. She does her thing.
Mhm.
She will be part of Stardom to do defenses and such, but she does her thing. Bozilla is going to be on every show. This is
Yeah.
an actual, like, someone brought it. And the funniest tweet that my friend had was, yeah, I think Marigold's okay trading Bozilla for Mayu Iwatani. I think they're perfectly fine.
Good point.
I think they're going to be pretty happy about that as all business is up since she's walked in the door. So yeah, like that's what it is. There had to eventually be someone that switched sides the other way.
Yes.
And if it's Bozilla, that's cool. You know why? Because that's good for her career. I much rather her come back to Japan for one more year than go sign because I think there's still a lot of potential there. There's a lot of new opponents for her there. She wrestled everyone in their 1 year with Marigold. Like they made sure she competed against everyone. That was perfect. Now she can try something new here. And yeah, good for her. She is a star in the making, as I've said. She is very talented, and I'm excited to see her. I mean, she might kill Azumi, because that's the match they're doing. I was like, oh, good luck.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's a good addition for Stardom. They had to do something like that. Not again, Stardom's hot. They don't have to do anything. I get it, but eventually, like they want to stay hot. That's why you've seen them do what they're doing right now.
Yes.
They still don't want to book Shia Kamitani in a title match, but listen
But
to my other podcast
the
for those
idea
complaints.
is to get other things to you can't one star is not going to build, a massive ship, right?
Sure, but you
It's
should
not going to do all these other
yeah.
things.
My problem is you should still be booking the other star. Like Noah is going all in on Ozawa. This guy has had 3 title defenses since Saya's last one.
Mhm. Mhm.
Or sorry, 3 title defenses since Saya had the TAM one. That's a lot. But you know why they do it? Because he's the biggest star in Japan right now.
Yeah.
She's the biggest star in Joshi. They don't have to do it yet, but I would like to see them do more. But they are doing more elsewhere, and I appreciate that from them. I'm excited to see what Bozilla does. I don't think this needs to be like a big debate of like, why did she go here and not there? She didn't get signed after one. She accomplished pretty much everything she was going to do, unless she was going to win a belt in Marigold. She
Yep.
goes to Stardom. Now it's something new for her. Maybe wins that New Japan Strong Women's, get some more eyes on in America, because ultimately that is her goal. That is
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
clearly her goal.
Which it should be. I mean,
Yeah.
and Stardom obviously is, if you just want to look at it, there's the WWE aspect of things as well, but also with the AEW aspect of things.
Yeah.
For if AEW, it has sort of become a pipeline for non-Japanese talent, right? With
Yeah.
Tekla, Mariah May, I mean Mina as well,
Megan Bayne.
but
I know Megan Bayne was supposedly signed, but
yes, Megan Bayne I'm going to include there. It has become a pipeline for talent where if you are a non-Japanese wrestler going to Stardom, you can go there for a year, actively get better. We see that with all these wrestlers,
yes,
and then presumably get signed by somebody, and then
she
start a bidding war.
went
That
from
is also what people should be doing, but
yes,
I digress.
she went from unknown to somebody in her 1 year with Marigold. Now she goes from somebody to a clear, undeniable prospect in Stardom. I think
Yes.
that's like the perfect progression.
Ideally,
her.
obviously, we'll find out how it goes, but
Yeah,
ideally,
yeah.
that's the track.
Ideally, I feel pretty good for her. We'll see, of course, but yeah, happy for her. Happy for that, and yeah, that was pretty newsworthy. But I I was unfazed by it because I was like, it makes sense. Like, I was like, it just makes sense. Like, I know, like, it becomes the newsworthy thing, but it's good to see her pop up back in Japan. I think there's still a lot of potential for her there. And yeah, let's get out of here because we went over 10 minutes because that's what we do.
Yeah. Scotty, plugs,
Yes.
match of the week.
Yeah. I can't take, I guess I can still do match of the week from that show because we didn't fully review it. So since I can't do Shuri versus Shari, which was great, I'll do the tag title match. Hana and Saida versus Natsupoi and Seriano. Very good, very, very good. Enjoy both. Um, love both teams. They should all truly be in singles title chases right now, if I had the choice. I think Saida should challenge for the Wonder soon. I think Hana and Sayori and Natsupoi are all destined for the world title challenges soon. And yeah, really great match. If you want to hear my full thoughts on the conversion, you can follow me on Twitter at Scott E Wrestling, on Blue Sky at Scott E Wrestling. But make sure you check out the YouTube channel, youtube.com/at Scott E Wrestling. Every Friday, my 5-Star Joe Show podcast is uploaded on there. It's also available on podcast platforms. That's where my conversion review will be because, like I said, I had a bachelor party yesterday. I was not doing some live review or big review or anything. We're just saving that for the podcast. But Joshi has a lot going on. The 2 tournaments are coming up soon, so lots to be building towards there. Marigold has a big Korakuen next month. Stardom has 2 Korakuens and a pay-per-view next month. So that final month stretch before the big tournaments is always a good one, and we are in both of them. So definitely lock in there. Check out the Sari interview if you haven't. It's on the Fightful YouTube channel. It's doing great, but I would still recommend you watch it because it was pretty cool to do. And yeah, that is it. Thank you for having me. Thank you for a shorter show, even though by the time we get off of here, it's going to be almost 2 hours, but I digress. Ryan, kicking it over to you.
Match of the week is extremely difficult because I think we talked about every
We
single
talk about
match.
every match of the week.
Yeah. The only other thing we didn't talk about too much, I guess, was Triple Mania. So I'll say the best match of the 3 is the World Tag Title. I went 2 3/4, but
woo, baby! You didn't watch anything else like old?
No.
Yeah.
I was only able to squeeze in all the Lucha Libre stuff this week.
You should have just like recommended a match instead.
Well, I'll recommend this. Go watch the trailer for the Naked Gun movie coming out this summer. That's my recommendation. I worked on that movie. I'm excited to see my name in the credits for the first time in my career on film.
I'll be making sure to see it.
Yeah. Do you watch the trailer? What did you think of it?
I'm gonna watch it. So
Scotty,
it won me over.
Not watch the trailer a week ago. That's fine.
No, I didn't. I saw clips from it. I never watched the full thing, but I was like, I'm gonna watch this movie. So that's still a win. I didn't see the full trailer. I rarely watch. This is a random thing. I rarely watch trailers. This is just a weird thing I do.
I think that's funny.
Unless I see them in the theater, I don't really watch trailers. I don't know why. I don't need the hype as much for some reason. Like, unless it's a movie that I'm 50-50, I'm like, okay, let me see this trailer.
Yeah.
Sell me on it.
I don't really watch trailers unless it's something I'm like I have a real interest in and I want to be like confirm like is this going to be good? Like I'm like
That's fair.
weirdly interested in that new Ari Aster movie. What is it called? It's about like a political time during June of the pandemic, June 2020. I'm like weirdly interested in it. I forget what it's called, but it's like a small town sort of thing. Anyways, go watch the Naked Gun trailer. I worked on that movie. Just in the accounting sphere, but I read parts of the script. It's funny. There's funny bits. Cody Rhodes shows up in the trailer, if that matters. He's in the movie, so I can say that now. Yeah, Cody Rhodes was in the movie. He plays a bartender.
He looks funny.
He wears a shitty wig. It's very good.
I'm gonna give. So I wanted to say this to you. I
Mhm.
wanted this to be a fun thing we do to go off.
Sure.
Kind of funny that you brought this up, but to go off of the wrestling to end the show, if you watch like a movie or TV show, give a recommendation for that on the week too.
Oh, sure.
I'm watching a lot of stuff. I'm watching a lot of movies lately, and I'm in a movie vibe.
I
And I know
watched.
like you and Jesse watch TV or a movie together.
We
So
do
I think that's fun.
movie Mondays in our household. We watch a movie every Monday. We
Or
just
even if it's not a recommendation, tell us why it was shit.
yeah, I can tell you what my movie of the week was. What we watched on that week. Well, we just finished watching a bunch of Amy Heckering's, not a bunch, her entire filmography. She's the
Holy
director of
shit.
Fast Times at Ridgemont High and Clueless.
Yeah.
Weird filmography, very strange. Look it up. It's like she does like a National Lampoon movie, like one of those Chevy Chase movies.
That's crazy.
Uh,
that alone's like, huh?
Yeah, very strange filmography. But we started watching some of the Coen brothers movies. So to that end, our Monday movie we watched was Raising Arizona, and I loved it. And then my mom and I just watched The Fablemans that came out a couple years ago last night, and I love that as well. We also watched Blackberry.
Is that the one?
The Fablemans is the Steven Spielberg movie, which
About
basically
his life, right?
Yeah, basically a biopic about his life, dramatized, obviously. Very good, very great movie. The literally you'll enjoy this. The end of the movie, there's a little bit where they have this whole thing about the horizon line at the very end. They readjust the camera to readjust the horizon line and make it more thing. And in that moment, I've jumped out of my seat, hooting and hollering, swinging my fist, being like, movies, movies. Great stuff. Plugs. Follow, count out wherever you get podcasts. Listen to the podcasts wherever you get those. Ring Post Radio, a bunch of other shows on it. The Ballot, of course, is the show I do as well. Go check out The Ballot. A lot of great stuff on there. The next episode about for The Ballot won't be coming out until July 9th, the Wednesday before All in Texas, and it is about an AEW wrestler. So stay tuned for that July 9th. Already recorded,
baby.
already got the guest and everything.
I already know who it is, but I'm not gonna spoil it because I'm not a dick.
Follow us on social media. Do all those other things. Next week, honestly, Scotty, I got to look up exactly what else there is to talk about because on my calendar, all I have listed here is Night of Champions for us to discuss next week.
Let me tell you right now. We could talk the New Japan stuff.
Sure.
Which will be like 3 things, but hey, New Japan stuff.
There is. I will say, if this is a discussion point, and maybe this is not a discussion to have on air, there is a part of me that's like, I see Night of Champions as the only thing really for us to talk about, and I was like, maybe we just skip next week. Maybe we take the week off and not talk about Night of Champions, and maybe that's part of that protest.
That'd be a good little bit. I mean, hey, listen, I enjoy a nice little vacation.
Yeah, it will either be
listen,
us
the people
next
like
week.
us.
What's that?
Maybe we just make an episode about nothing. We'll do a Seinfeld gig. It's an episode about
2 hours of us talking about anything else other than
anything other in the world of wrestling that isn't that. Well, you know what we can do? We can title it WWE Night of Champions Review and then never talk about it.
That's a good bit.
Yeah, we're doing that. You're welcome, guys. We just told you our entire bit for next week.
We gave away the Lily, but we gave the Lily.
It'll be worth it because we'll just have debates and conversations about other things, and that will be more fun. We can't take the week off. The people need Ring Post Radio, I'm told.
Yeah,
The
apparently
streets have been telling me they need Ring Post Radio. They tell me we're having some generational episodes lately. I'm sorry to give you a burnout over Mystico this week. I just was like, I don't know, the entrance moved me so much.
It was also
like,
good. It turned out to be good.
Yeah, it was also good. Like, had he lost, yeah, would have got it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, we can just give you something next week. I'm sure I can get pissed off pretty quickly. Ryan knows what to spark me up on, and we can just have an episode there.
I do.
We can make some jabs about WWE.
We probably will. I can say that now. We probably will.
I haven't called Ryan an AEW Freakazoid in a long time, so maybe we can get somewhere there. There's plenty to talk about, just not shows. So we'll give you your Night of Champions review next week.
Wink.
Wink, nudge, nudge. By the way, I watched. I wanted to just say this: don't watch Mountainhead. Movie fucking sucked.
It wasn't good. I had concerns about it.
Oh my god! I wanted to shut off halfway. And I love Succession. That's
even more fascinating.
That show is written by the same guy. Hated Mountainhead.
Did you watch?
Too close to home. Maybe.
Have you seen Blackberry?
Not home. No, I have not.
I think if you've seen,
is that about the phone?
Yes, that's about the phone, not about a fruit.
Is it by that guy?
No, I don't think so. It has Glenn Howerton from Always Sunny, and Jay Burchell.
Good movie.
Good movie. I think if you're a fan of Succession, you like that sort of weird to say comedic style.
Well, here's the thing, Succession.
But if you like that comedic style, you'll like Blackberry.
Yeah. Okay. Good to know. Yeah, I watched 4 movies this week. 2 of them were rewatches. 2 of them were new.
Scotty, save it for next week. Save it for
next week. I'm gonna have new movies to talk about next week.
Get hyped, everybody.
So, like, this week was Godfather, Shrek, classics, by the way.
2 classics, 2 all-time classics.
All-time classics. Like, rewatching Shrek, I was like, oh, that's great. Then I watched Mountainhead, ruined me.
Next week,
I watched new Lilo and Stitch.
Next week just might be us talking movies. Maybe
we're just gonna talk, man. We're not talking. We're reviewing Night of Champions. Wink. I mean, it'd be awesome if like that show actually did get canceled.
Should that be our title? Ring Post Radio Live, Night of Champions, and then like asterisk, wink, asterisk.
Yes, absolutely. That's what we do. And the I already have it in my head. The thumbnail is just going to be an emoji winking.
So dumb. We're boys over here.
We suck. All right. Well, speaking of stupid little guys, there you go. See you later, guys.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to Ring Post Radio. We'll see you next week. Talk to you all later. Goodbye, everybody.